Hi there, hope you're having a good day. Welcome back to another video. We're doing my mid-year top 10 today. The 10 best basketball shoes that I've had so far in 2025. The releases this year have been more than solid, at the halfway mark that is. As usual, the ones that have been mentioned on my previous top 10 list won't be included again, but I can let you know how they compare in case you're wondering. Also, I will be ranking these in order based on my personal experience. So at any time during the video, please feel free to drop down your own top 5, top 2, what's a shoe that really impressed you recently, or the go-to pair in your rotation. Mine this year is actually just the top 3 that you're about to see. Sounds weird, but sometimes the best performers aren't necessarily always my favorites, vice versa. I was about to make a reference to my wife as a joke, but hard stop, like the JB3 type of stop. For honorable mentions, I'll just quickly go through some great ones that I also wrote down. Nike A1, beautiful looking shoe, decently priced, good traction, but it's just a really tight and snug fit with pretty cheap material on the upper and no air unit. Anta KAI 2, slight downgrade in the cushioning department compared to the KAI 1, but everything else is fantastic. Feels a lot like how a Nike Kyrie Low used to be. Could be awesome if that's what you're looking for, depending on your preference. Harden Volume 9, Adidas does not plan to be innovative. This year they're doing the same thing, trying to win you with their design language, stability, tanky functionality, and they do a great job at that. In other words, slightly heavy, a little bit slow, no problems otherwise. If you care about creasing, purple is the only doable colorway. All City 13, excellent all-around performer. Hard and crispy on the outside, soft and tender on the inside. That's still my summary of it. If you say this is a top 10 or even top 5 shoe, I think it's hard to argue against that. But there are shoes that offer similar benefits plus an extra specialty, like with a punchline added to it. You'll see. The D-Lo 1 might be one of them. A lot of similarities to the All Cities. For 40 bucks less, you also get full lens boom. It's softer, not as caged, and a tiny bit more comfortable at the cost of worse support, like torsional support and containment. So that's why to me, those two are really right next to each other. You like it smooth, then maybe the D-Lo 1. Okay, starting off at number 10, I have the Peak Taichi Supreme. Most unique hoop shoe I've worn this year. We often talk about low to the ground guard shoes. This one has done it to the extreme. Core feel is incredible. Traction is top notch. The outsole does pick up dots easily, but it never affected the grip for me. This is a drop-in midsole setup. The midsole is relatively firm, not the super soft and plush type, but just like their Taichi slides, it's like a stable, long-lasting comfort. So think about something close to a barefoot shoe, but you're not just landing on nothing. Some shoes with removable midsoles, the outer shell can be too hard and clunky. Well, this is the complete opposite. It also has a light base, smoothly rounded shape, no sharp ends causing you any pinching. Probably best out for guards. Heavy players or bigs, this might not be the ideal choice. And that's what limits his ranking at number 10. If I had the spare money, I'd buy every single colorway. I mean, there's the Grinch, reverse Grinch, sky blue, purple snakeskin. Man, peak sizing is way off, by the way. Whatever your normal sneaker size is, just go down a full size from that in US sizing. Full size down or half size down, depending on your foot shape. Next up at number 9, I have this shoe one spot higher than the Taichi Supreme because of a little bit of an added height from the midsole. More loaded for sure, while everything else from the upper is still minimal and breathable. And that is the Adidas Adizero Select 3.0. In my opinion, this is the only Adidas shoe right now that is not so Adidas-like. It's very lightweight. Traction, cushion, and most importantly, impact protection. These 3 things are significantly improved from the previous version. I felt like I was landing on a flat piece of cardboard and slipping on ice playing on a dusty court in the 2.0. This time around, it's bouncy, more stable compared to the BioSpeed BB, not as stiff compared to their own down issue 6. So it does stand out among shoes that have a similar build. Now, a downside here on the 3.0 could be the lack of padding on the interior. I mean, there is no padding, but it's fairly spacious. Light strike midsole is nice and delicious. Playing in this shoe, you get that dynamic effect that almost urges you to move fast. And safe to say, it was a genuine surprise this year from Adidas. Coming in at number 8, let me explain. I know they didn't change much Same cushion, same outsole, same build. But for one particular part, I think it's an awesome design perk that makes it more comfortable than the previous version. And I'm referring to the KD18. Here they feature the Vomero 5 mesh base. That is a heavenly wrapper on my feet. Soft and conforming. As someone who wears the Vomero 5 every single day, I can attest to the benefit of that. This alleviates foot pain and soreness from having an upper that presses down too much on top of your feet. The midfoot cage is inspired by the Air Terra Humera. It actually goes pretty well with the mesh part. A subtle bounce, very KD-like underfoot cushion, except it's not narrow anymore widthwise. Lockdown around the ankle area isn't the best. Like, however I try to tighten it up, the top eyelid there unfortunately just isn't secure enough. 17 and 18, Nike kind of slacked, yes, but 17 wasn't bad to begin with. 18's upper saved the day, and when they eventually go on sale later down the road, I think that'll be sweet. Let's say at 50% off, because I think this model can be considered more of a KD 17.5. Deserves a mention at least. Next one up, I have a very underrated shoe. Has everything I want and needed from a basketball shoe, and that is the Team Joker from 361 Degrees. Roomy toe box fit, not too narrow around the midfoot. Many of their other shoes are spacious up front, but tight in the middle. This is just a cozy and forgiving fit. That leather part is buttery smooth. You have a good mix of materials, and the quality is honestly very impressive at the $110, $119 price point. Step-in comfort is amazing. Cushion is more than sufficient. Quite foamy underneath, while the support plate gives a nice little push to your movements. It adds to the springiness. Large TPU piece at the back, that helps with stability in the heel. Design is pretty dope too. Big Jokic logo. This dark green colorway hits all the right spots for me. Super smooth transition from front to back. That's one of the highlights too. Excellent traction, of course. That's almost guaranteed on 361 products. Any weakness? I almost can't think of any. Imagine a shoe that strictly follows the typical structure, abides by the formula, doesn't wow you in a crazy way, but safe, comfy, and durable. At number 6, this shoe, the more I played in it, the more I liked it. And I realized that it did save me from some potential injuries a few times. And that is the Rigorer AR2. This is the Austin Reeves signature shoe with a retail price of $100. My analogy here is a primetime Adidas shoe with boost. The AR2 does not have any fancy features on it. Traction is top tier, no doubt about that. Clean or dusty court, indoors or outdoors, I was able to get to a hard stop every time down the floor. That's an advantage for sure. I also benefited quite a bit from the shock absorption with this foam without even knowing it on the spot sometimes. Nice and secure lockdown compared to the KD's Adizero Select that we talked about earlier. Don't expect anything premium from the upper material, but it's very cost efficient in a good way. It's a shoe that I want to go back to playing in again and again. Very fun to use. Ranked pretty high on this list. So yes, to me, it is a huge upgrade from the previous version, AR1, especially in terms of cushion. All right, moving into the top 5 now. This one's a lock. Long break-in needed, however, and that is the Nike GT Cut 3 Turbo. Differences from the regular GT Cut 3 were pretty clear to me. Better lockdown and containment, much less dust pickup compared to the translucent outsoles. Full-length Zoom X, that is juicy delicious to begin with, and it stays that way on the Turbo, even though it'll eventually bottom out to some degree. They also added Zoom X insoles. That's a tiny bit of a boost on the inside. For some, you might prefer the cozy step-in comfort from the regular version, but the Turbo does have a stronger build in general. Pairing that loaded cushion with a more rigid upper just feels right. Weight increased a little bit, but still pretty light. So this shoe, as an expensive Nike product, does pack a very powerful punch. Great for guards. Forwards and some bigs can certainly take advantage of that bounciness and explosiveness too. Another very bouncy performer, Liren 5 Low, I have it at number 4. Regular version, low top, not the Liren 5 V2. While the V2 is also nice, they're quite different. Liren 5 Low is still the bounciest low top boot shoe I've ever had. Well, it's also one of the lightest out there. They executed the midsole construction to perfection. Your feet are loaded onto the jump plate. You get the springiness from the plate, also the softness from the foam. Full length boot. A quick snap in the forefoot, loaded in the heel with a decent amount of compression. Aside from the cushioning setup, traction is elite. Great for outdoors too, if you're considering that. I would say similar to the Jordan 36 Low, but without the pinky toe problem that a lot of people experience. Severe pinching, nope. On the Lirens is all good to go. Real quick, the Liren 5 V2 focuses more on core feel, smooth transition, while it's equally as loaded in the midsole. It is a lot heavier on feet, more bottom heavy. Yeah, Liren 5 technically came out toward the end of last year, but it wasn't on my 2024 list yet, so it has to be somewhere in the top 5 range. At number 3, Super Boom is some top 3 level shit. 100% worth trying in 2025. Sorry, I sort of cheated a little bit because I feel like I've mentioned the Ultralight 2025 so many times already, but it has to be on here still. As the lightest shoe ever created, by far, lighter than the Gammas, yes, featuring Super Boom, which essentially is a lower density, softer version of Boom. On the 808 Ultra, it turned into a delicious drop-in midsole. I normally don't even like drop-in midsole shoes. Some of them can create a detached feeling, but here, you really feel that softness every step of the way. The weight reduction is significant. 808 is so much lighter than the 808, 808, 808, all of them. They put a relatively thin and very breathable upper on this model. That works perfectly too. If I have to think about downsides, for those with high volume feet, the shape here on the 808 Ultra might be a little bit too flat. But otherwise, man, this was a flawless product. I've used my outdoors GCU plus Tough RB. The short answer is yes, you can totally use it outside too. Versatile, bouncy, and comfortable. Once again, some brands are still giving us plain EVA midsoles on their cheaper models. Not even the best stuff on the signature shoes. Li-Ning and Way of Weight have already transitioned to putting full-length Boom, their flagship tech, onto their more affordable models and coming up with new stuff. Enough said, I think. However, second place, surprise. Am I tripping? No, I absolutely love these, and I think a lot of you will as well. Jordan Luka 4 at number 2. Where do I start? Very waifu friendly, to a point where I actually sized down after comparing my options. That works wonders for me personally. They did add a rectangular zoom unit in the forefoot on this model, which the previous versions did not have. Some may laugh about that. I felt quicker, lighter, and happier wearing these versus the majority of other shoes on the market today. Functionality is king. I try not to judge everything based on how their specifications are on paper, if that makes sense. Cushion 3.0 is pretty soft and comfortable. Moving away from their Formula 23, I am a big supporter of that. No pinching on feet. Traction is awesome. Surprisingly durable. I wear my Bloodline pair casually sometimes. Laser blue, this colorway is gorgeous. Bluish gray or grayish blue instead of a white base. What's more beautiful is how easy it is to use. No soreness after extended runs. Not a single stiff corner on this shoe, based on my experience. Perfect for flat feet. Nicely padded tongue, smooth finish on the interior. I even thought about comparing this to the number 1 pick, but nah, it's not quite there. Now, while we're on the best performer this year, allow me to quickly bring up the JB3. It was already in my top 2 in last year's top 10. But if you're wondering where it would place on this list, the JB3 is the same level here. I'm also currently running a giveaway for it on Instagram, so feel free to enter and check it out. Okay, this year's number 1 goes to the Joker 1 GT from 361 Degrees. Without a shadow of doubt, it shocked me with the cushion from the second I first put them on. I felt like I was stepping on cloud really, and not just some regular type of cloud. Because it's soft, it's gotta be the Flying Nimbus because it's really bouncy and responsive at the same time. Traction performance continues to impress me. This RPU also does not even pick up any dust. It stays immaculate. Compared to the regular Joker 1, the GT version, which stands for guard tooling by the way, gives you more freedom and mobility around the ankle area. But stability is not sacrificed. It's just one heck of a springy and supportive shoe. Perfect in traction, cushion, comfort. Material is nice too. It just gets scratches easily in the toe box. If you're trying to decide between the Joker 1 GT and JB3, your foot shape could come into play. The JB3 fits wider. 10 out of 10 for the Joker 1 GT cushion. I give the JB3 9 out of 10. Both 10 out of 10 traction. In case you want to be using them outdoors, I don't think the Joker 1 GT also can last very well. Otherwise, these two are pretty much both perfect, all-time performers in my books. So that concludes my picks for the top 10 basketball shoes so far this year. We still got 6 more months to go. Usually in the second half of the year, Nike, New Balance, Way of Wade, they're all dropping loads of stuff. 361 is certainly in the mix now. Adidas has an AE2 coming out, Converse Shade 001, Puma All-Pro Nitro 2, and the new Halliburton signature shoe. Nike's Draft 3, new LeBron, Air Jordan 40, those we have all yet to see. Lots to look forward to, but for the first half of the year, the Joker 1 GT takes my top spot, followed by the shoe that I can't stop touching, the Luka 4, and another one that I can't stop taking out and putting it back in, the 8085 Super Boom drop-in missile. Anyways, give us your top picks right now, whether you agree or disagree with my takes on these. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next one.